from last time I had the card. You asked the question about being a leader, so I hadn't tried to be that succinct before, but I quickly scribbled before you called time, being an example while inspiring others to follow the example, and that was what first came to mind when I thought of leadership. So I'm not a morning person, so I didn't get up at 5:30 this morning. But I'd been thinking about it a lot, and actually it was late last night where I said, gosh, I got to put something together here. And what I had done is I'd taken this card that Mary had given us, and I started thinking about the different parts of leadership and thinking that I was going to come up with an individual in my life, a leader that I had read about, and what I found myself focused on was my daughter. I have a 17-year-old daughter. She's our oldest. And when she was 10, she was diagnosed with epilepsy. And epilepsy, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, has different forms. The form that she has causes her body to basically shut down. It's kind of like hitting Control Alt Delete. She's now 6 feet tall. She doesn't know when this happens, so it can be fairly traumatic at times. So for the last 7 years, I've watched her, and she's actually been kind of the person that, as I can look at the qualities she's shown, they're teaching me. And so I wrote down some of the things that I try to value, but then I also, simultaneously, I was thinking, gosh, that's her. Realistic. She figures out she has epilepsy. You don't deny it, you don't accept it, but you acknowledge it. So it's a matter of not accepting it, you can change, which led to the second part, resilience, to fight, to be determined that this isn't really going to determine who I am, but I'm going to fight through it. And so I had an opportunity to see disappointment, to see the resilience to fight against that disappointment, to try to persevere. Faith. Faith's an important part of my life. It's been interesting to see the faith that she has, because without that faith, there wouldn't be hope. And it's that hope that I think gives you the ability to be resilient and to fight against that disappointment. So seeing that faith in her and see how it's grown and been a key part has been inspiration to me. Action. Once you have gone through these steps, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? And she's become an advocate. She's been to Lansing twice advocating for some key issues that affect those that are taking some of these medications. A lot of these medications affect your brain, its operation. And there are some important factors, so she's taken a role in that. She's been on an advocacy council for the state. She's raised funds and brought people in on teams to help make awareness and bring awareness to it. That action has inspired me also to do some of the same types of things, not just think about an issue, but actually pursue something that will affect change. Probably one of the toughest ones was humility. For a high schooler, middle schooler to have this, you don't want to be the outlier. You want to kind of fit right into the middle, but it is what it is. You stand up tall, but the humility that when you're having difficulties, to go and ask for help. Ask the teachers for help. Ask your peers for help, probably one of the hardest things. But to be humble about it and to go and ask for help. And by doing that, see how you grow, because there's a lot of relationship building that comes from it. Lastly, thankfulness. I think when you look at the experiences that all of us have, and I'm thinking of my daughter at this time, you may not be thankful for it, but as you look backwards to see how it's transformed you and how you have a different perspective on people, thankful. On January 7th, so just about a month and a half ago, she celebrated her 17th birthday. She hasn't been able to drive because she's been having seizures. She's now been 14 months without a seizure, and it just happened. It was not planned. She was giving the okay the day before that she had completed all of her driver's permit, and you are now free to get your permit. So on her birthday, 17 years old, first thing we do, we go and get her permit, and she drove on her 17th birthday. And she recognized that. She was thankful for it. She bawled to be able to hop behind the wheel. And it was fun to see that whole kind of evolution from 10 years old to 17. So from that experience, it inspired me, which kind of gets back to what I wrote down from Mary, being an example while inspiring the other people. And so I learned that from my daughter, and thank you for letting me share.